Who hired you?
It's just a job.
Who hired you? Tell us. Tell us now!
It was a bounty hunter who called.
Django has always struck me as a perfectionist. I believe he saw everything in terms of performance, from how he operated to the way he presented himself. His perfectionism is what made him as good as the bounty hunter he was. Yet, it's also, what I believe, what led to his downfall. See, I think Django's strive for perfectionism was his way of not dealing with what he was most afraid of. Django became the best in what he did so that he could reduce the chance of ever having to confront his fears and insecurities. Of ever having to fail. I don't think Django's biggest failure was when he got killed. Rather, it was the moment he decided not to deal with his emotions and passed them over to his son, Boba. Django, by having a son, was constantly confronted with himself. Boba was supposed to be trained with the aim of making him fit to fill Django's shoes. However, this proved to be difficult, if not impossible, for both. Every time Boba would make a mistake, or fail, in Django's words, Django felt like he was failing. For this reason, Boba was just allowed to succeed. Because of this, Boba began confusing performance for love. For Boba to receive the love and approval he so desperately longed for, he needed to meet every expectation of his father, a task that he could never fulfill. Even though there weren't many, at times when Django just wasn't strong or smart enough, he wouldn't back down. Not because he was arrogant or he overestimated himself, rather because he simply couldn't accept to. This made him vulnerable to those who were stronger than him. Jedis, to be more precise. For Django, accepting that he is, every now and then, impotent, would mean doing the hardest thing. Perhaps harder than fighting a Jedi. Embracing his thoughts and fears. Embracing himself. Having gained the reputation of the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, Django was eventually offered to serve as the genetic foundation of a clone army. These clones would be created for the sole purpose of fighting, meaning they would be tampered with, to make them more obedient and less independent. In addition, they would be designed to age twice as fast as natural humans, making the clone troopers ready for battle in a decade's time. Django accepted this offer, but with the agreement of obtaining a clone as part of his payment. This clone would become his son and would be left unaltered. Being the template of thousands of clones, including one he would raise and train, was more than Django could ever wish for. It would serve as a confirmation for him that he was, indeed, perfect. While the clone troopers were modified, Boba wasn't. He had to be raised, fought, and cared for. During Boba's childhood, he grew up with the other clones. Concerning his struggles to live up to the expectations of his father, being around them didn't help. He compared himself to them. Boba couldn't help but feeling that he was falling behind. Django was aware he would die someday, by old age. Having a cloned son was in service to that. Django wanted reassurance that he would never be completely gone, that maybe, somehow, he would outlive his death. Through Boba. During shooting lessons, Boba never hit anything. Taking command over the ship seemed impossible. The pressure to perform kept Boba from performing. One day, Django stopped giving Boba lessons. Instead, he made him merely watch. Boba, for the first time in defense of himself, could not stand this. All he ever did was do what his father asked him to do to the best of his ability. And now he was told that wasn't good enough. That he wasn't good enough. There was a slight urge within Boba wanting to express his anger. However, this thought was quickly replaced by an older and more commanding one.
I'm here for a reason.
How do I feel desired and loved? The moment Boba decided to disregard Jango's orders was not a rebellious act. It was, in fact, another attempt at making his father proud. While Boba was waiting back at the ship, watching, Jango was fighting with one of his enemies. As the fight progressed, Boba decided to make a move. He engaged the ship's blaster cannons, waited for his chance, then took it. Boba succeeded greatly. Was it because for the first time he took control over his actions? When the fight was over and Jango turned back to the ship, he didn't say a word. Whenever Boba did something wrong, Jango would lash out in anger. Whenever he did something right, well, Boba didn't know what to make of it. He was only sure about what he felt. It was terrifying. Jango wasn't thinking about Boba. Rather, he was thinking about himself. Something had happened during his fight, which he could not face. 1. He was fighting a Jedi. 2nd. His son had... No, that's not the answer. Let's try that again. 1. He was fighting a Jedi, of whom proved to be much stronger than him. Yes. 2nd. His son No. Let's try that one more time. He was fighting a Jedi, of whom was about to end him, until his son interfered and shot the Jedi with the ship's blaster cannons, causing the Jedi to fall over and flee.